Jumping into Little Lou's story, it actually happened on May 11th, 2022, as me and Annalyn were packing and getting ready to go on our baby moon. We were going to go on a cruise, and we were getting ready. It was Wednesday evening, and we had plans to leave for Florida the next day. However, that Wednesday morning, Annalyn was feeling some abnormal pressure, wasn't really feeling 100%. She just was saying something felt weird. And me being a guy is just like, okay, yeah, things have been feeling weird the whole pregnancy. But we decided to go to the labor and delivery section at the hospital. And after about 2 hours, they said, everything's normal. You guys are cleared. Go home. So I'm like, awesome. I love wasting time at the doctor. But 2 hours later, after we got home, I get a phone call from Annalyn, and you can just imagine, I could just hear it in Annalyn's voice, and she just says, hey, I'm bleeding really bad, and you need to meet me at the hospital ASAP. So I'm just sick to my stomach. That is the last thing I wanted to hear. But we go back into the doctor, and we're told that Annalyn is actually going into labor. And at this point, she's about 22 and a half-ish weeks into her pregnancy, so nowhere near where she needs to be. But she starts going into labor due to an incompetent cervix. And she's already dilated to a 2. And to spare you the doctor definition, what happens with an incompetent cervix is gravity is literally like pulling the baby out because, female anatomy, it doesn't stay closed and it just opens, baby just falls out. So there's my doctor definition for you. However, they told us that we were at about 22.4 weeks. And the doctors come in and they start going through all of the scenarios and all the different things that can happen, which if you've been in that position, it's super overwhelming because doctors, in a way, they can't really tell you the truth because they don't want to be held liable and they don't want to get your hopes up, all the different things. So it was really overwhelming. And at this point, they're telling us that survival rates are less than about 50%, which for a first-time mom and a first-time dad doesn't help calm any of the nerves or stress as we were in the hospital. And I'm getting frustrated. I'm just like, guys, just shoot us straight. Tell us what's going to happen. It's okay. We can handle it. But it was just all these what ifs, hypothetical scenarios, and just everything. If you've been in that position, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It is very difficult sometimes to communicate with the doctors, and I understand from their perspective why it's so difficult. But from a concerned parent and as a father and mother, you just want to know what's going on, and you want to know what's probably going to happen. Just prepare for the worst, hope for the best. So, anyways, after talking to some specialists, we opted to choose to give Lou, at the time we didn't have her name picked out, but we chose to give our daughter every fighting chance possible and really just put it in God's hands. If Lou was, by some miracle, supposed to make it, then we were going to give her every opportunity to do so. And so the treatment, what the doctors told us to do is we just had to keep the baby inside of Annalyn as long as possible to continue to let the baby grow and develop. So they literally just had to put Annalyn upside down and let gravity do the rest. So we were told that every extra day the baby stayed inside, our odds of survival dramatically increased. And the goal was set at a minimum that we needed to make it to 23 weeks. The NICU had a pretty, set rule that they didn't prefer to take any babies that were younger than 23 weeks. And so this was just the optimal time that they thought that they had a realistic chance at being able to, have a baby be born prematurely and get it to where it would one day be able to go home. So 3 days at a minimum. Annalyn goes upside down and she's on bed rest. She can't even stand. Like she's not allowed to leave her bed. So you can imagine how fun that was. Those 3 days were some of the longest, most stressful days of our lives probably. Heart rate monitors are all over Annalyn. Heart monitors are placed on her belly to monitor the baby's heart rate. And it's something that if you haven't experienced it, you just don't really know what it's like. But just imagine every couple seconds, boop, 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 you can just hear the heartbeat, the heartbeat, the heartbeat. And then if the baby moves, you stop hearing the heartbeat. So then as soon as you stop hearing the heartbeat, you're like, doctor, come check this out. So just a ton of monitoring, making sure that everything was going well. And so really, I think the hardest part during that process that Annalyn expressed to me was that she just felt kind of guilty that, Lou was completely healthy. And that's what the hard part was. The doctors told us that she was on schedule. She looked strong, healthy. She was doing great for where she was at in her development. But due to these external circumstances, she really just wasn't going to get a fair shot. So that was, I think, really sad and, disappointing. That's at least what Annalyn had expressed to me. But we get going through the hospital and we're told that the baby could be born any minute, in a week, in a day. They simply had no idea. So we just had to be ready. So I spent every night in that hospital room. I think I was only there for maybe a couple hours. And at this point, is finally starting to become real to me, just what we were facing. Just the unknown, all the what ifs. If our baby did survive, was she going to have, development problems? Were we going to be in the hospital for a month? Were we going to have a baby in a day? Just, you had no idea what to expect. However, it really caused us to reflect on the miracles, because it was such a miracle that this happened the day before we left to Florida to get on a cruise. If we were in Florida away from family, that would be so hard. And if this would have happened while we were on the cruise ship, we would have likely been giving birth in a third world country with little to no NICU. If they even had, a labor and delivery section, and, modern day technology that we have here in the United States. So looking back, I'm super grateful that, God blessed me with those 2 weeks in the NICU to be Lou's dad, because that's really what made it real to me. I don't know how other fathers' experiences are like, but it really wasn't real until I'm holding my baby girl and going, wow, like, this is mine. But until then, Annalyn just had a belly, and it was like, hey, yeah, that's cool. The ultrasounds are cool, but it really did become real to me when we were at the hospital. I struggle to show emotions and tend to cover them up at all costs. And up to this point, I hadn't cried in probably like 5 years. I'm not even joking. And that's probably why I also like to run, is it makes you tired, it makes you fatigued, and it just allows you to think and feel what is actually going on. And I just remember going on a run around our neighborhood, and I just started bawling my eyes out. The thought of not being able to see my little girl grow up was really the part that was hardest for me. I was thinking of t-ball games, making her laugh, teaching her to ride a bike, her asking me to come play with her. All those little moments that I was looking forward to as a dad were probably gone. Really, no matter what happened. And so, in a way, as a father, I just was frustrated. I felt upset that, in a way, that life was cheating my little girl of having all of those experiences. But deep down, I had a very strong belief in God that no matter what happened, everything would be okay. Everything was going to work out, and that I could have peace with whatever ended up happening. May 14th, 2022. I turned 23 years old, and Lou turned 23 weeks old. So we got to that magic day, and later that evening, Lou Mae Brandt was born at 5:57 p.m., weighing in at a whopping 1 pound. Not only did we both share a birthday, but we both shared the number 23, so that's really cool. We ended up spending 2 weeks in the NICU, and the nurses made sure to always keep our hospital mugs topped off with Diet Coke. I don't know what it is about the NICU Diet Coke, but it just tastes different, so good on you guys. Those 2 weeks, Lou was making great progress for 12 days. She was getting better and stronger every day. And when you're in the NICU, they give you a phone number so that way you can call your baby when you're at home. So every single day we would call the NICU in the morning and just ask how our baby was doing. And on Saturday, May 28th, the nurses actually let Annalyn hold Lou for the first time. And that part was really hard on Annalyn, is she wanted to be a mom, but due to the circumstances, we had to just watch from behind the scenes and trust the nurses to take good care of her. But May 28th, nurses let Annalyn hold Lou for the first time, and over the course of that time, Lou even began to start opening up one of her little eyes. And she actually opened that when I held her, so I get the bragging rights that she saw me first. But Sunday, so Saturday, May 28th, we're holding her. They tell us everything's good. And then Sunday, the next morning, we called in and the nurses let us know that she was doing just fine and typical progress was being made and everything was status quo. However, we then called in 2 hours later saying, hey, we're about to come in. Just wanted to get a quick update before we dropped in. And they just told us we needed to come to the hospital immediately. And tone, not reassuring. And so we were already kind of preparing for the worst. Lou's little body was just simply not able to fight much longer. The doctor revealed that the brain scans came back very negative. She was having, very severe brain bleeds, which is normal in NICU babies, but I'm not going to pretend to know the terms, but very severe. And doctor pretty much told us we had less than 4 to 8 hours with her, and we needed to kind of say our final goodbyes and prepare for that. So little Lou, she was a fighter, and she made progress every day, and she fought till the very end. And at that point, me and Annalyn knew that it was just time, and that Lou was telling us that she was ready to go back home to where she had just recently came from. So at this time, COVID restrictions were going on, so we were only allowed to have a few people in the NICU that were able to see her. But doctor gave us the news, and they allowed our families to come and visit her. And so that way we were able to get my parents, Annalyn's parents, grandparents, and everybody to come say hello and goodbye. And then me and Annalyn spent the next couple hours alone, just as a family, with her. And that was probably the hardest part for me. It was such a string of mixed emotions. No one's ever prepared to go tell the doctor, hey, we're ready to take our child off life support. As bluntly and as raw as that sounds, it's literally what the doctor told us. Hey, just let us know when you're ready. And it's just the word just never came into mind. You're never ready to do something like that. And it's just something you never prepare for. So me and Annalyn, we cherished those last couple hours. We read her bedtime stories, some books, gave her a bath, played with her toys, talked to her. And those are really the little moments. Those are the memories that are the most tender and most touching to me. Saying goodbye was very tender and honestly just a scene from a sad movie. There is nothing natural or normal than simply handing over your baby to a complete stranger so they can, just take her. In every piece of my mind, it just felt wrong that she wasn't coming home with us. So that last night was really hard, leaving her and having to say goodbye. So this was an excerpt or a piece that I wrote in my journal after our funeral, as I was thinking of Lou and just trying to capture a lot of the moments and thoughts and emotions that had happened over the last couple weeks. But I wrote, I see my future family all huddled together as we celebrate my birthday in 10 to 15 years. We'll be looking at our family picture on the wall, and next to that picture is a picture of our little Lou. Without her, our family was never possible. Because of her, we knew how to prevent those pregnancy complications from happening again, and that made it possible for us to have kids in the future. And we are so, so, so grateful for her. I know that she came to this earth with a purpose, and she gave me those 2 weeks to be her daddy and taught me how precious life really is and how much love I could feel for my little girl. These 2 weeks were what I needed for it all to become real to me. She came here with a purpose, and as she passes, she will fulfill her next one. I know one day we'll be together again, and she will forever be my family's guardian angel. Then to go on, I went on to write. This little piece. We live really close to the hospital that she was born in and that she stayed in. And as we drove past the hospital road, my heart just began to break as we didn't make that right hand turn to go visit her at the hospital. And just a little piece of me still feels that we left something there that night, and that little NICU will always hold a special place in my heart. So that was just a little piece from my journal, but wanted to put my thoughts together and put this video together just to help other people and to share her story and share the miracles. And also, this doesn't get talked about enough. So many people go through something like this, whether it's a miscarriage, whether it's losing a child, whether it is maybe struggling to have kids or get pregnant. So many different things that are related to this that are, really hard for a lot of people, but we just don't simply talk about it.
That's not a good side.
I got both sides.
It's not like a big
Yes, it's okay.
Unless you have from long hair to
You
light.
might not have any hair till you're 82.
Yeah.